Good evening. Welcome to Metro Focus. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jack Ford. From Trump Plaza to public housing, accountability or mere publicity. U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development official Lynn Patton is making her way uptown to NYCHA's Grant Houses in Harlem in January in an attempt to, quote, fully understand the crumbling infrastructure. However, amid reports of rat invasions, toxic mold, lead scares, and heat outages, will her temporary stay truly be enough for her to gain a perspective on the housing system and to help make changes? In a tweet, Lynn Patton expressed her current take of NYCHA's living conditions, comparing it to that of another sensitive issue. She said, quote, "Dear migrant caravan, we know the majority of you seek asylum for a better life in America and are fleeing oppressed conditions of abject poverty without heat and running water. Well," she continues, "with all due respect, don't come to NYC because NYCHA residents don't have it here either." So, is NYCHA's housing as extreme as she states, and will her stay bring about the changes that so many NYCHA residents are hoping for? Or did it just make for an excellent headline? Well, here with her perspective from D.C. is the woman who first brought you this story from the Washington Post, Tracy Jan. Tracy, welcome to you.
Thank you very much.
Let's start off, and to give some context here for some viewers who might not be as familiar with this story, tell me about Lynn Patton, her background and what her job is.
That's right. Lynn Patton is the regional HUD administrator for New York and New Jersey. But more interestingly, her background is a longtime Trump family aide/liaison. She's been working with them for about a decade with Eric Trump and other members of the family. And it is those political connections that frankly got her job at HUD.
Now, let's talk about her role at HUD and the impact it could have. Because I suspect many people might be saying, well, you know, this is New York City housing. Why does the federal government get involved? So why would she want to be there? What's the answer to that question?
NYCHA is actually a federally funded agency, so the federal government is involved from the get-go. Unfortunately, for NYCHA, the federal government has been not funding it as much since 2001. I think it's lost over $3 billion in federal capital and operating funds since then.
Right. So when you're talking about the possibility of change, which obviously would involve costs, getting executives from HUD involved is certainly essential, yes?
That is right. It's actually their responsibility to fund NYCHA.
Talk a little bit about her impetus. She had an interesting story about how this notion came to her. Tell us about that.
That's right. Well, according to Lynn, she was sitting on her couch at Trump Plaza, where she lives, over the Thanksgiving weekend. She and her boyfriend and her dog, her Shih Tzu, named Winston Churchill, were watching Crazy Rich Asians. And she had been aware, obviously, given her role, of the problems at NYCHA. But from her coffee table blared the headline that NYCHA residents were again without heat and hot water. And so she thought, you know, let me just move in there and see what kind of impact I can make in a month, during a month-long stay.
Now, this is not completely unheard of in the world of politics, right? The notion of a political figure saying, look, I'm going to literally and figuratively immerse myself into the circumstances here that I'm going to have to deal with, correct?
That's right. Most famously, Jane Byrne, the Chicago mayor, did it in 1981. She moved into Cabrini Green it turned out to be only for 3 weeks. But she and her husband actually moved in and took a whole apartment. And her goal was to try to emphasize how safe, or how much safer, Cabrini Green was compared to its public perception. But she moved in with a bunch of security, and that didn't go over as well.
What is the plan then in terms of Lynn Patton moving in? For how long, under what certain circumstances, where specifically will she be?
Sure. Lynn and HUD officials, as well as the tenant association president at NYCHA, the tenant association president for the New York Public Housing Residents, they're working out the logistics. Her goal is to move in the month of January, staying with a different family already living in New York Public Housing for 1 week at a time. So 4 families total, 1 week stays with each, and in 4 different boroughs around the city.
Now, I've seen some folks commenting on this and offering editorial views, and some of them said, well, it's just an attempt to generate some publicity. But I guess the question would be, would that be a bad thing? And again, you're a journalist. I'm not asking you to jump in on one side or the other. But I think you can make a pretty good argument that it's already generated publicity about the problems in the NYCHA housing, and maybe just that by itself can be beneficial.
That's right. It absolutely is an attempt to generate publicity. It is a publicity stunt, but that doesn't mean there can't be any accountability along with it. Look, she hasn't even moved in. She comes in January if all goes well with all the approvals that need to happen. And national media is already talking about a problem that New York residents probably know a lot better. So it's already working. I think the real test is what happens after she leaves. Are the problems that she's highlighting, will they actually be fixed? I spoke with a New York professor who is an expert in NYCHA housing. He's written a book about it. And he says, this is like Trump administration ruling by reality show. That said, it's a savvy publicity move.
We're seeing more attention devoted to this because, as you mentioned, because of what she has done. I guess last question for you is does she, in her role, have the actual power after she comes out of this? And let's assume she is affected by this, as so many people have been, in terms of the impact of the problems here. Does she have the actual power to somehow effect change?
Her job is to be the liaison between NYCHA and the New York public housing residents, as well as the Trump administration. So she does have power, and she has a different type of power, being that she has a direct line to the White House. Ironically, it is HUD, federal government, that has been cutting funding for NYCHA. So the president himself has gutted NYCHA's funding for infrastructure and operating budget in his last couple of budget proposals. So some would call it hypocritical that she's drawing attention to a problem that her own president is attempting to make worse. Her response to that is, look, Congress ultimately did approve an increase in funding for HUD, including money for public housing, and Trump signed off on it. So in the end, the money in the last couple of budget cycles hasn't been decreased. And from her perspective, she thinks that the president, being from New York and all, has a soft spot for the city and its residents, including residents of NYCHA.
Well, as you said, there's already been a positive response to this in terms of attention paid, and hopefully something more will come from it, something more concrete will come from it. Tracy, we appreciate your reporting on this and you're spending some time with us. Thank you so much. You take care.
Thank you for having me.